First entrepreneurial job as promised. Inspired by candy and me missing my dad and the association between the two. So when the separation happened, which was quite suddenly, he was very ill, so he wasn't behaving like himself. And I was suddenly in that house I talked about with the boat. If you haven't seen the video, it's here, close by. It says third entrepreneurial job on it. Anyway, if you haven't watched that, you could watch that if you wanted. And I needed to find different ways to have candy. So my first entrepreneurial job was to sell my toys. I had a toy box that was probably 2.5 to 3 feet deep, 5 feet long, and the same depth as height, obviously. So it was the width, maybe 2 feet, 1.5 feet. Anyway, it was a toy box, and it was full of toys because, as I said in my previous video, he spoiled me. So anything I ever saw, wanted, I never got a maybe. I always just got even more than I asked for. If I asked, like I asked for a rocking horse one year when we were all still a family, and I wanted the one that fits me, and I was little for my age, and like smaller. And so I sat on the one that would be appropriate, and he put me on the big, massive one, which scared me to death, and said, no, you're getting this one. And I was arguing with him saying, no, I just want the little one. But nothing was big enough, good enough for his daughter, even if his daughter fell off, because he was my friend, so couldn't talk sense into him, you know what I mean? He just thought the bigger the better. Kind of like me with the coloring books and pricing them. Did I talk about that yet? No. So how did I price my toys in my toy box? Well, number one, Uncle, if you're watching, I didn't sell Rosebud. Rosebud was my favorite and only doll. And Rosebud had a British accent, for anybody who doesn't know, and would say in a British accent, hello, my name is Rosebud, or let's get some tea. And she had blonde hair. I kept her like so well. And I had her until I was about 13. And one day I came home and she was missing from my closet and she was thrown out. I'm not kidding. So I didn't sell Rosebud. I didn't sell my Ernie and Bert puppets that were trademarked Sesame Street. And I didn't sell, that was my uncle's gift, the first one. Then all the rest are my dad's. I didn't sell that. I didn't sell my Mickey Mouse camera, which was the head of Mickey Mouse, literally my size head as an adult, with big black ears, of course. And I couldn't even hold it at 3.5 when he gave it to me. I pulled down the ear and the whole thing was like going to fall, and he caught it. And basically he took the pictures I would just move the ear. He taught me how to move the ear, and it would take real photographs, and it was trademark Disney Mickey. I have found Mickey on eBay. Rarely. Anyway, I didn't sell those, but I sold everything else because I watched Wilma and Betty Flintstone, and they were selling something, and they had the bottom of a box, and they threaded the box and knotted the box around their head on both ends, through the hole in the box, which I made, and knotted it, and then it had like a shelf. And so I thought, I'm going to do what Wilma and Betty does, but I'm going to do it with my toys. So I took that contraption that I made, and I also took as many toys as I could possibly stuff, and like all kinds of little ones and big ones. And I priced them according to size, which was on one hand a good idea because weight is effort and effort needs payment. However, my Matchbox toys, my Matchbox cars are worth a fortune. And they're gone. And I think they were 10 cents, 5 cents, because it was penny candy back then. Now, the whole reason I did this, besides the fact that candy is good, and especially when you're a kid, and Morgan's Variety was down the street from my school, and all the kids would go there because Margaret was my friend, Margaret Morgan. And the parents would give out free candy, as well as you could buy candy. And candy was a penny. There was also chocolate bars that were a bit more, but black balls and these chewy lips that are wax and they're hot lips, and when you bite them they're hot for a minute and then they're just wax. And like toxic chemical things like straws, you just take it off and dump stuff in your mouth, and it's like powdery toxins probably, but it was good. And like there would wax stuff, wax like straws, and you could bite the top off and it would be different colored liquid and you would just drink it. I don't know, we survived. There was sponge toffee open to the air so other people's fingers were on it. We just ate it. Lick'em Stips were my favorite. It had two colors, I think cherry and lime. Anyway, that thing would go all day and I'd end up with like sore mouth, sore tongue. And those frozen treats that were like a triangle, they could like go like a whole half of a day because they weren't a penny though. Anyway, so I was selling my toys every day from my toy box, as much as I could possibly carry. And everything was great. Now, the first day, kids didn't know what I was doing at school. And they said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Candy." I was just like, not candy. I would yell, "Toys for sale, toys for sale, toys for sale." And then eventually I didn't have to yell anything. And before the first bell, the beginning of class, my stuff was sold. Done. Gone. It was awesome. Then I had candy. Now, I was forbidden to have candy after the separation. The thing is, though, my dad's favorite thing was like candy, and he always had licorices with like black and yellow and pink, and like we always had candy and peanuts and coated peanuts, and like our whole lives revolved around treats. And to suddenly go Jonesing from the candy with the double emotional effect it had to miss him, I wanted candy to feel better because I associated it with him. So psychologically, that makes perfect sense. And also, I'm a kid and everybody's going to get candy and I'm not allowed. So, whether for good or for bad, for health or for not, I was 6. Who cares? So, I kept doing that. And one day, I felt a tap on my shoulder, my left shoulder to be exact. And I looked up. And it was Mr. Fennell, my favorite principal. He was amazing. Now, the principals and the 5 secretaries, that's what they called them then, would always help me because they knew what I was going through, the chaos from moving, the fighting, the separation, the father dying. Like, they were helping me through all that. So I could just come to school whenever I wanted. Could pretty much get away with a lot of things, although I wasn't a bad child. They were just really extra kind to me. And Mr. Fennell tapped me on the shoulder, and for the first time, he looked stern. And I don't know if you know about this, but cartoons used to feature jails, and so did some of the adult TV shows that me and my dad would watch together, like, I don't know, cowboys and westerns, and they always featured a jail. And I vowed when I was a little girl, when I saw that, I thought, that's not me. I couldn't survive in a jail. I love freedom too much. So I never did anything bad to go to jail. That's the whole reason why. So when he tapped me on the shoulder, my first thought was, uh-oh. He said, "Miss Vanessa," looking down at me, "may I see your permit to sell merchandise on school property?" I was floored. I didn't even know I needed one. So I said, pardon me? And he said, "Do you have a permit? You need a permit to sell merchandise on school property." And I said, "Oh, no, Mr. Fennell." I thought, jail. I'm going to jail. That's it. That's it. I'm going. Police are coming. And I said, "Mr. Fennell, I'm really sorry. I didn't know that I needed a permit." Now imagine his laughter. Imagine, right? How much he had to hold back. Because I literally thought, I'm going to jail. I was very serious about this. I was having fun until that point. And I was making a lot of candy money. And it helped me not miss my dad as much. So I said, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Fennell." And I thought the police sirens I'm going to hear them. And he said, "Just don't do it again. This is a warning." I said, "I promise." Anyway, nobody noticed, but all my toys were gone from my toy box. There was some stickers left, an odd Lego piece, but basically it was all gone by the time I got caught and stopped. And that was my first entrepreneurial job. And so again, that's a story about my father and me and resourcefulness and candy and fitting in and belonging and feeling loved and, yeah, ingenuity and the fact that toys didn't mean anything to me unless I had my father. and I didn't. So the toys didn't mean anything to me.